The Wednesday week is sponsored by Oddballs, a speciality. Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
There's a chance here, a great save, a turner from McClare. Might come, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Rexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
The Wednesday Week! Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and we have a full complement of Wednesday Weekers. Again, I'm still not happy with that. First of all, let's start off with the regulars. Mr. Fudge, how are you all, boys?
Good evening, Sire. How are you all feeling today? Are we all upbeat after that smashing transfer window deadline day?
We'll get on to that shortly. Eddie, my old friend, how the devil are you?
Coming to you live from the City of Culture, Glasgow, tonight. I'm continuing my European tour.
Very nice.
Don't bring back Stevie May, whatever you do.
Victoria in the background there. How are you, my darling?
I'm all right, thank you, my lord. I am here in my wonderful home studio, my attic that overlooks the beautiful North Stand.
Fantastic. James, oh boy, how the devil are you?
Hello, greetings from sunny Devon, where it has actually genuinely been sunny today. I hear you've had thunderstorms and everything up there.
Never anything other, is there, old boy? And we do have an extraordinarily special guest on the podcast this evening. Off at telly and everything. We have David Garrido. Hello there, David, old chap. How are you?
I'm very well, my lord. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a real pleasure.
Absolute pleasure to have you, old boy. In the biblical sense, of course.
Is this how it's going to be? Is this going to be like this all the way through?
Generally, yeah.
Okay, I'll strap myself in. In the biblical sense. Here we go. Right.
So let's crack straight on, shall we? And first things first, let's have a little chat about the Middlesbrough debacle. It's fair to say we weren't too optimistic, but were we expecting that?
Look, Rex, can I jump in here first? Because I'm a man with very few words, but...
That's what you know, it's old boy.
So Middlesbrough, to me, is very important as a game. It's almost up there with the Steel City Derby, because I live just 15 minutes away from Middlesbrough. I grew up there. At least 50% of my friends are Borough fans. And so, to me, it's a massive game. So
all three of them?
Oh, sorry. Did I say friends? I mean people who talk to me when I go into shop. So it's a huge game for me. And so I looked across from my seat in the North Stand, and I could see at least half a dozen of people who, I regularly play football with, I drink with, I talk to in shops. And so it meant something to me that Wednesday put up a massive performance. And you know what? In the last few years, we've done that. We've been absolutely amazing against Borough. Who can remember last year when we went up to the Riverside for the first time ever and we actually put them in their box? It was 3-2 in the end, but it should have been 8-0. You know what? The game wasn't too bad. I don't mind the fact that we lost. I just really, really hate the fact that Jack Hunt ruined it for everybody by deciding that he was going to play as a striker within 3 minutes. Right? And that's all I want to say on the content of the match is that if we're going to play with a formation, it's important that the players remember that they have a role to play. And being picked as a fullback does not give you the license to then disappear up the pitch to the point where when the opposition counter-attack, we basically have Lewis Price holding his you-know-what, and we concede goals. So, Jack Hunt against Bristol, possibly the best performance I've seen from a Wednesday fullback in a long time. Against Borough, possibly the worst. And so, therefore, we probably need a tiebreaker to get to the point where we decide whether that is the right direction we need to go in.
Is it probably the reason why he was dropped against Leeds? Because Jack Hunt is very good coming forward, but he doesn't look like he's all that bothered about defending, does he?
I just worry that he spends an awful lot of time ahead of Ross Wallace. If you're the fullback and you are further up the field than Ross Wallace, then you're not playing fullback.
I'll come in and sound friendly now. Sorry, Jack, if you're listening. Bloody hell.
I'm sure he is.
I've got 3 points, and one of them is it's a praise but it's a massive agreement with James.
Oh.
So hold me back. But Alex Lopez was phenomenal. His touch, he had the perfect view of the ball every single time. And now I know what you were saying. Completely agree with you now. I hold my hands up. I'm very sorry for being grumpy after Oxford and whatever else, but he was brilliant. And the balls he put in and the way he was playing, he knew exactly what he was wanting to do. Downside, Royce.
He's
the
crap.
left back, he was awful. And
Don't hold back. Say what you really think.
Vincent Sasso, just as bad. I mean, everything was going through that side. Sasso, he's so pretty. I know you all think he's pretty. I think he looks like Tommy Spur, but Spanish. And that's not attractive.
The Spanish Tommy Spur.
What?
Fantastic.
Hang on. It doesn't get any better than Tommy Spur, but also Spanish. That's the most attractive man who ever lived.
That's the point.
Yeah, but hang on. Tommy
Oh, here we
Spur,
go.
if anybody remembers Guy Smiley from Sesame Street.
What?
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think we've gone off a tangent here, but he was awful as well. Wiggins and Sasso, terrible. Sasso just looks like he's been picked out from the bus stop on Lappings Lane and said, have you got any boots, mate? Do you fancy a game? He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. But Lopez, hands up to you, James. He was great.
I completely agree with you with regards to Wiggins. When he came here, quite a lot of Charlton fans were tweeting about being quite sorry to see him go, and it reminded me a little bit of who was the centre half that we signed from Watford a couple of years ago. I can't remember his name. Who came here and we all thought was going to do great things, and he had 2 or 3 really bad games and then didn't play again. Martin Taylor, that's the guy.
Taylor, yeah.
It just feels a little bit like that he came here with a decent reputation, and what we've seen so far has been pretty poor. I know people have said, is he any better than Joe Mattock? And probably not, but it doesn't matter because Mattock's gone and we've got Wiggins. But I'm pleased that we've subsequently brought in another left back, who, fingers crossed, we hope now will become our first choice left back. With regards to Sasso, yeah, he was pretty poor as well. And there was a point in the second half where he went to clear the ball and it went over his head and back towards his own goal. And that's stuff that, I play 5-a-side sometimes, and even I know that's you don't do that. That's pretty poor. But I'm going to stand as a bit of a lone voice here because I actually didn't think it was all that bad against Middlesbrough. I thought second half we played all right. I think we were undone by a team that's much, much better than us. Couple of incidents of fairly poor defending on our part that did the damage. But you've got to remember, Middlesbrough have been building now for 2 or 3 years, and they've been doing it really well. They've brought in some really good players. They've spent more than we have in this transfer window, and there's only 2 Championship clubs that have spent more than we have. Middlesbrough's one of them, and they deserve to win. It doesn't matter. We move on. We've strengthened since then. Let's not worry too much about it. No need to.
Do you feel like we beat ourselves on Saturday? Because I came away thinking, you know what, Borough were good, but I think we held our own. But I think we beat ourselves 3 times. All 3 of their goals were down to us making mistakes and them being savvy enough and experienced enough at the top end of this division to exploit those.
Probably, and that's what you need to do to win promotion, isn't it? And Middlesbrough will probably get promoted this season. And a game where they weren't amazing, they were better than us, but they weren't amazing, and they won the game comfortably.
I think what a lot of this does boil down to is the experience word. This is basically a brand spanking new team. Obviously, we've not been together very long. Carlos hasn't had a huge amount of time to get his strategies across, shall we say. I know these are professional footballers and everything, but you can't really expect to sort of lump them all together and expect results straight away, can we?
You're not going to say the word gel, are you, Lord H?
I was trying my very best to avoid that very word.
Okay, let's plump for the word cohesion instead. I think that's clearly an issue that we've got at the minute. I think like you say, we've got a lot of new faces come in. Well, you wouldn't have thought that on Twitter yesterday on deadline day, but yeah, we have. We've got a lot of new faces come in, and cohesion is the word of the day.
Absolutely. So let's put that one behind us, put it to bed, and we'll just crack on, shall we? So, obviously, next sort of thing we need to be looking at is, as Fudge has just mentioned there, transfer deadline day, or transfers in general. Of course, 15 players in, and we've got somewhat of an expert on transfer deadline day on here at the moment, don't we? So, I mean, from your point of view there, David, looking at it from where you are, is it as exciting or even more exciting looking at the Wednesday angle from that point of view?
Do you know what? I mean, I think I kind of really announced myself to the world fully as a Wednesday fan in January's deadline day when I kept people up to tell them about Felipe Melo and almost blew it, actually, because that one was touch and go. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
Felipe Melo, not for me.
Yeah.
It's Felipe Melo Silva.
Yeah. Not the right one. Sorry. No, look, I think that was obviously just a little hint of what was to come. My view is, look, when was the last time, and I tweeted this, when was the last time we signed 15 players over a summer? I can't remember it. And there have been people tweeting, I remember when we signed James O'Connor over the summer.
Absolutely.
And let's just compare it to that for a moment. Look, you're right about the cohesion. It's going to take a while. But I like, the ambition of the last few signings. Forestieri, I think, is quality. And Pudil, I think, is going to be brilliant as a left back. I think I've got a mate who writes a Watford podcast. Obviously, one of my colleagues, Adam Leventhal, is a big Watford fan, and he says, "Look, this guy's going to give you absolutely 100% every game. He's a very dependable left back, and he's not going to just shoot off on one and not track back. He will definitely cover his ground." It's a real shame about the striker, but I do know, having been talking to Wednesday over the course of the last 48 hours, 72 hours. They did try so hard to get one over the line. Obviously, Vydra was the one that was probably closest. And when Reading come in with a £2 million loan fee, then that's going to be very hard for us to match. A lot of people saying, well, look, we supposedly bid 10 million for McCormack. We didn't. It wasn't that. So why don't we pay 9 million for Vydra? Again, we're not quite in that market yet. Hence,
David,
Rhodes, forget it. That was never, ever going to happen.
David, who did we go for that we didn't get? Let's have an exclusive.
Well, I can tell you we were definitely in for Vydra. I think there's no sort of doubt about that. Obviously, everyone knows about Hooper. And there were a number of other targets that were sort of just inquiries more than anything else. But I think, and this is another thing for Mr. Chansiri to sort of come to grips with. Obviously, he's new to football, and he's also new to deadline day and transfer windows and agents. And I think he probably got a sort of a little bit of a rude awakening to, what it's like when, you're trying to buy a striker and then suddenly people get offered your way and then people are asking for certain amounts of money. And do you know what? I think we decided that we weren't going to be held to ransom. And I think that's a good thing. Look, we didn't get our number 9, but the loan window opens on the 9th of September. Let's just bide our time. It's a good time for the international break. Let's just take stock a bit. And then go again. 15 new players, guys. 15.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we'd have gone into that deadline day and we'd have come out with Forestieri and Pudil on the day of the deadline,
we would have been
boasting
and gloating. Absolutely. It would have absolutely loved it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I think you're absolutely right that I think it has been a rude awakening for Mr. Chansiri. But one of the things that actually I quite like is that when he came in and he was asked the straight question, as any foreign owner especially comes into a club and gets asked, are you throwing money at it? And he said very carefully, we are going to invest what is needed. And I think a lot of the fans over the summer, seeing the number of players that were brought in, seeing real transfer fees being paid for Sheffield Wednesday for the first time in a long time, I think we almost got into that mindset that, you know what, Chansiri was talking rubbish about that actually what he was going to do was throw tens of millions of pounds at this. And the fact that we came through with almost a principled stance around Mark Hooper, around Vydra, around McCormack, etc., etc. I actually think that we're doing it in a much smarter way. And it shows to me that Chansiri, although he's new to football, he's no mug, that he's not just going to write a blank cheque to whichever club shops a striker our way.
No, you're absolutely right. And there is a strategy. I think people, especially other fans of other clubs, and they're looking at us and they're thinking we're scattergun. We're just like, we're in for every striker. It isn't the case. There is a strategy there. They've got criteria. They are working it out in a certain way. And I think, do you know what? We've gone about it the right way. That's my own personal opinion. And if you can imagine right now, if you'd said to a Wednesday fan before the window opened, we're going to have Forestieri playing off as a number 10. We're going to have someone on loan from Celta Vigo who can pick a pass perfectly and can just basically pull the strings. And we've got other players who've been really impressive. Thank goodness Matthias has started scoring because he deserved that. He kept putting himself in the right positions. Eventually, it was going to come. And Sugu for me is exciting as well. We were not playing brilliant football at home last season, were we? Now, I think we've got the players to do it. So I'm still very, very optimistic.
I think that's a very polite way of saying we weren't playing fantastic football at home, because others have made it slightly a stronger argument than that.
Victoria. It's just Victoria.
My lord.
Yes, madam.
At this point, can you please just rewind to the podcast pre-season when I mentioned Forestieri and no one knew what I was on about?
It's
and
true.
Boom, she was right.
She's plugged in. She's plugged in.
Wins. That's
And I think-
it. I finished my ironing. I knew what I was on about. In your face.
And I'll repeat what I said when you first mentioned this, which is I've got a mate at work who is a massive Watford fan, and he has insisted for the last year and a half or something when we've been talking about football, and he says Forestieri is better than Deeney and he's better than Vidra. And he's absolutely insisted. He says that out of those three, he thinks that Forestieri is the better player. Certainly, he likes Forestieri more than the other two. He thinks that the effort that you get from him and the way that he can turn a game is fantastic. So we've got him for £3 million. That could be an amazing bit of business, and I cannot wait to see this guy in a Wednesday shirt. I really can't.
Absolutely.
And he also looks a tiny little bit like Messi, which is really exciting.
Oh, that's it.
Well, if you squint a bit, yeah, that's right.
If you squint and tilt your head to the left, it's Messi. It's brilliant.
I assume that everybody saw the his first interview in his Wednesday shirt today, and he's just such a smiley little man, isn't he?
It is sweet. He's so
happy.
cute.
Oh, he's not on the list because he's too cute.
Did he use the word massive?
I don't think he knows the word
No.
massive, to be fair to him.
Oh, well, I'm out.
But he just seemed awfully pleased. But no, I mean, obviously, as we've all mentioned there, I think we're all of a certain vintage, and if you allow me a bit of an old man rant here, we've all seen what happens at this sort of age, being Wednesday fans, when we throw money at a problem, and then we have 15 years where it didn't work out too well for us, didn't it? So I think the cautious approach. I mean, saying that, look at what the chaps spent. We can't really call him tight-fisted. What, paid £30 million for a club, a new £1 million pitch, scoreboard, a bit of a lick of paint around the place. What, about £9 million on players? He's hardly a skinflint, is he?
No, I completely agree with that, and you're right. We look at clubs like Nottingham Forest and Blackburn and see the state that they're in now, and cautious is absolutely the right way forward. All I was going to add on to this is just while we're on the subject of transfer deadline day, mainly just because I'm really nosy and really want to know if this is true, and I'm hoping David knows the answer. Gary Hooper, VIP box. Any truth in that?
Oh,
because that just sounds like a total load of rubbish.
Let me first say, it's not my story, so I think you can probably ask the Sheffield Star about
Absolutely,
that.
it came from the Sheffield Star.
Yeah, it was Danny Hall. He's a United out as well, so in your face, Danny. I've known him a long time. I knew it was him.
As I understand it, there were discussions about that as part of him joining the club, but whether there was a row over it, whether that was the reason why we didn't sign him, I can't tell you that. So yeah, and in any case, it doesn't matter. We haven't got him, and we'll find someone else. As I say, the loan window opens in a week for 3 months, and I'm sure over that time we can find someone who we think is suitable. And if not, we'll play Forestieri off João, and I think that's a pretty good front two.
Absolutely.
I think Gary Hooper did really well in rebuffing those rumours as well. I thought that was very well handled. It was media handling 101 from Gary Hooper today.
It only took one word on Twitter from Gary Hooper, didn't it?
It just said not true. Oh well, thanks very much. Cheers.
Although Fudge, I thought your reply to that was quite amusing.
Well, I just thought we could probably start some rumours. Like I heard that he wanted dancing girls in the changing room. Or I heard that he wanted little Cockney urchin boys to polish his boots. I just thought if we could just start making more rumours, we'd be able to completely highlight the ridiculousness of this entire non-story written, as Vic says, by a United fan. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Hashtag Hooper caused this.
I went for, I heard he wanted a one-legged Norwegian transsexual to peel him a Sicilian orange at half-time.
Well, he's not had
What?
Well, given the way that local newspapers pick up on tweets. I think we might be able to get one of these in the Sheffield side tomorrow.
Oh, get incredibly sued. So cracking on. I mean, obviously it's a story. That's what it is. We've had a few other little bits and bobs. A cracking piece of news out of Hillsborough today that Westwood has extended his contract until 2018. And personally, I think that was probably one of the best bits of business we've done since last season.
I think that's the best bit of business we've done. At first, my reaction, I was all up in the air. I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? I was like, oh. And then I thought about it. I thought, no, actually, this is the best thing we've done. Yeah, we might have, I'd imagine, probably tripled his wages. But what a signing. I'd have been happy with just that, let alone the other 14, which includes, let's not forget that Latchman and whoever else, Sasso. But
for me, it's a statement of intent, isn't it? That the fact that Westwood, who is, but by any metric, he was the standout best keeper in our division last season. But the fact that he probably could have agitated for a move either in January or at the end of this season, and probably got to a Premier League team. The fact that he's willing to buy into the project that Mr. Chansiri has put in, the fact that he's willing to stay at Sheffield Wednesday and commit for a decent amount of time. That to me speaks volumes. That to me shows, that him and Tom Lee signing up multi-year deals shows that this is not a flash in the pan, that actual professionals, the best that we have, are signing up to go the journey with us. That to me suggests that they understand that this is more than just window dressing. This is more than just somebody having a punt on something. They've been sold on the idea, and so therefore, why shouldn't we as fans get behind that?
I think you're right. I think we've also got a bit of a pedigree of goalkeepers. I mean, even if you look back, far back as 5 years. Well, I think we had Nicky Weaver. Oh, we had Lee Grant, who was great for us, and then got his bigger move, or what was perceived to be a bigger move, to go to Derby County, and then since then we've had Bywater, who I was a big fan of. We also had Nicky Weaver when we were in League One, which I thought was a decent signing as well, and all these, and then Chris Kirkland obviously as well, and these keepers that we've managed to essentially relegate to the bench, I find astounding. Like, who the hell are we chucking people like Stephen Bywater on the bench? You know what I mean? Or who do we think we are? Chris Kirkland, nah, mate, you can be reserve League Cup goalie as well. I think that's.
We've had more depth at keeper than any other position, I think, in the last 10 years. Doesn't matter how much we seem to be struggling financially, we always seem to. Okay, Ola Tidman aside, but other than Ola Tidman, I think we've had some depth at keeper that belies our
Let's
position.
not forget Pavel.
Whoa! Nobody puts Pavel in the corner.
I did notice as well that we've got 4 goalkeepers on the team photo that's been taken today.
Who's not on the team photo? Half of Sheffield must be on there. Have you seen it? It looks like the front cover to that computer game. What was it?
It looks like It looks like Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club.
I did try and have a count today, and I think I worked out it was about 30 or 31 without coaches.
There are 3 not on there, aren't there? There are Lavery's
exactly.
not on there because he's away. Mello's not on there, and Lackman's not on there.
What happened to Lackman?
Make of that what you will.
Is Lackman still there? I mean,
he's doing YouTube videos. Wherever he goes, he does a YouTube video of it. So he's probably got a Tesco's.
Because on YouTube, he was one of the first ones, wasn't he, that we signed when Chansiri came in, and already I've forgotten about him. There's been that many players come through the door, I've just forgotten of his entire existence.
I think Lackman's just too big to fit through the door. He's just huge, isn't he? We tried to get through the door, he wouldn't fit, so we've sent him back home.
One thing about the squad photo is, of course, that they've took chairs on the pitch. We're going to have lots of little holes in our lovely, beautiful new pitch. What they're playing at?
That's an old school thing. They always used to do that. They used to. I remember, was it 1995? It must have been around that time. And I happened to be in the ground when they were doing the team photo. We had lunch in Dooley's restaurant. It was my grandpa's 80th birthday. And we were just about getting to dessert. Ian Nolan turned up and tried to borrow a chair from our table to get out onto the pitch.
That is so Sheffield Wednesday. Came in the restaurant to borrow a chair. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And of course, the other bit of news, obviously from transfer deadline day, was Stevie May off to Preston. And
Hey!
I was
See you
just
later, Steve.
I was just
On
about
you
to
go.
say we all quite like Stevie May, but apparently not.
No.
Again, I want to love every Wednesday player, of course I do. But is Stevie May really the kind of striker that's going to sort of rock us up to the Premiership?
Evidently not.
We talked about it a couple of months ago, didn't we? I think before Victoria joined the Brotherhood,
Became bitter.
we all kind of said there that we still thought he got a bit of a role to play. To be honest, right, I am not as sad as I expected to be about Stevie May leaving. We've moved on, and the simple fact is he's just not good enough, is he? If he was a top 6 Championship striker, he'd have gone to a top 6 Championship club yesterday. The fact that he went to Preston says a lot. I imagine that Rotherham were probably in for him as well, and they're probably bottom 3 contenders. So it's a good move for him. It's a good move for us. If this figure knocking around that we got a 7-figure transfer sum for him is true, then we've made a profit on someone that didn't really do very much when he was with us. So it's a brilliant bit of business. I wish him well, though.
Oh no. Jeeves, we're going to need some more equipment.
Then you need to speak to Oddballs, a speciality.
What the?
Oddballs, a speciality deal in steel, food, and engineering equipment.
Where's that voice coming from?
We offer great deals on all types of equipment and can include dismantling, delivery, and erection anywhere in the world.
Did he just say erect?
We can also buy your surplus equipment or sell it on commission. With over 30 years' experience, let us achieve the best deal for you.
Where can I find out more, Voice in the Sky?
Go to www.oddballsaspeciality.com.
You heard him, folks. Jeeves, get a broom. So now everything's sort of sorted. Obviously, we've got the loan market, as David said, opening quite soon. But are we still as optimistic as we were before, obviously, the ins and outs all came in and out?
That's a trick, isn't it? Maybe. I think I'm still optimistic, yes, because, Eddie said it earlier on. Shansiri wanted to strengthen the players on the pitch strengthen the positions on the pitch that needed strengthening. And with the exception of Liam Palmer and Kieran Westwood, it's essentially every other position. But I think, am I still optimistic? Once we've got this cohesion, in inverted bunny rabbit ears, that we talk about, I think it might gel. It might gel about Christmas. We might be, the wrong end of mid-table or anything like that. But I think, given the size of our squad, looking at that team photo, and I think Manchester United fans of the 90s will agree that squad depth is key towards the business end of the season. And Christ, how many more players do we need?
Do you know what? The other thing I think is quite interesting is I do wonder how many of the squad of last season are going to come back into the team. I mean, for example, Kieran Lee not involved in the early games, but then I think Carlos has sort of seen exactly what he provides. That's the energy, that drive, really tidy play, and I wonder whether there might be a few other players like that. We've seen Semedo come back recently and play, especially in the League Cup game, and also potentially Liam Palmer. So I think that actually it's gonna chop and change a fair bit. Just because we've signed Jack Hunt on loan doesn't necessarily mean that he will play every single game. And Carlos does like to chop and change. I do think that what we need to do though is make sure we do have a plan B. I think sometimes we're playing 4-2-3-1 quite a lot, and if we get under the cosh, especially at home, or if we go a goal down, I think sometimes we struggle to find something else to do. Obviously, we brought Atty on against Borough, and love him or hate him, it did sort of help us and change the game. He became a focal point. We suddenly seemed to know what we were doing.
Do you feel like that's a danger for us, David, that because we're wedded to this, it's a very continental way of playing with the two defensive midfielders and a lot of attacking options coming from the wide parts of the field. Do you think that Carlos is going to shy away from going, two up top, a more traditional, bang it at them, get it in the box early, direct football when we go behind? Because I
think he's a man that he trusts his methods. I think he will try and carry on doing that as much as possible. I think he just came to a point against Middlesbrough where we had to bring on Atty because we know that he actually quite likes playing against Borough. But I don't think he'll do it every time. No, I think he might just change light for light within the team. So he might take Lopez off and add and put Kieran Lee on or something like that. But I'm not sure that he will change it too much. I'm not sure he's going to suddenly go 4-4-2.
Do we feel as a group that we have the options at striker that can rescue a game when it's gone away from us, or can change a game when we want to kick on and win it? Because that's the key thing, I suppose, from transfer deadline day, that we didn't get that banner striker, that number 9 that we wanted to sell shirts with his name on the back, etc. We know we've got Forestieri. He's a classic number 10. He's a classic deep lying striker. With who we've got, with Yao, with Nuiu, Yao. Do we feel like we have that killer blow up top that we can change a game and change the way that we play and get the results that we need to do when the tiki-taka is not working as much?
Joe, I think there's a couple of players who probably help. I think when we were playing against Reading and we were a goal down and Sugu came on, that for me was a game-changing substitution. I think he looked lively, and I think actually he might, for me, at times go ahead of Wallace. I think Wallace is your normal, natural starter, especially in terms of delivery from the box. And Sugu would be your action sub who comes on and really has an impact. But I think that at least in that department, I think we have got some game changers. We might just have to do a 4-6-0. Not play with one up front and just try it. I don't know. I think we've got options to rotate a few players.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a bus or a bush or Yorkshire again.
If you're a bus,
or a Lavery, and you're watching these strikers play this, you've got to be itching to get on, haven't you? Surely. So if you do get your chance and you get that little sort of snippet in, and maybe Carlos does knock a 4-4-2 out just for a certain game or a cup game even, just to get you playing, you've got to be busting, haven't you? Surely.
Lavery's a striker. I think the thing that we're almost missing, the gap is, we have improved our quality in every part of the field. But what we haven't done is sign a striker that's all he can do. A Gary Lineker, for want of a better phrase, a shitliner. Someone who is going to just feed on balls into the box and put them in the back of the net. Now, Lavery is actually, he's that sort of player. He's a guy who doesn't do an awful lot, but what he does do is entirely predicated on getting the ball in the net. And I don't think we've improved in that position. So given the wealth of talent that we now have, in theory, providing goals for our strikers, do we have the strikers that can finish it off? We've shipped Stevie May out. Clearly, he's not the answer as far as Carlos is concerned. Is Nuiu a dead-eye striker who can convert the chances? Is Sugu a dead-eye striker who can convert the chances? I think Matthias, at the moment, the way that I look at it, Matthias is the only player that we've got who we can rely on scoring double-digit goals a season. And that, to me, that's the only thing that's preventing Wednesday from taking the step that we need to take to fulfil what Mr. Chansiri wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're right, because we wouldn't have been desperately trying to sign a striker yesterday if we'd got the right players through the door. But the loan window opens next week, and we can be fairly confident that we'll move quite quickly to bring in someone. I think once the Premier League teams have picked their 22 or whatever it is squads, we'll know who's going to be available, and it'll be a very different picture. But in terms of what you're saying, do we have the options off the bench in terms of strikers that can do that? At the moment, no, we don't. But we will. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Wednesday week exclusive, we will.
In Chansiri, we trust.
I think he's still up in the air. I mean, we don't know much about Papadopoulos Scatman. I don't think we know enough about him. We don't know enough about the players we've got. We've not played a lot of games, and we've not, and some of the signings haven't been there since the start. But some of the signings might have only had 4 or 5 training sessions yet. Forestieri, I believe he just met the team yesterday. You know what I mean? So I don't know yet. I don't know. But then we keep talking about the loan window a lot. We've already got, is it 5 players on loan? We've got a serious amount of players already on loan.
Yeah, we've got 5. I think we could have 5 long players actually in the squad, can't we? So obviously, if we're doing this for the want of a better phrase, squad rotation, there is room for more for loan signings. Absolutely, there is. It's just that I don't think we'll see much of the Latmans and etc. if that does come to pass. But we shall see, ladies and gents. Well, absolutely, we'll see. So all in all, again, going back to the question 25 minutes ago, are we still optimistic about the season? Give me a yes or no answer. Fudge.
Yes.
Eddie.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Very convincing. Victoria.
This is me in it, so.
Boo!
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
And David.
Yeah, we've got to be patient, but yes.
Absolutely. Personally, again, I've said it a million times, my glass is always full, and I just bring it on, absolutely. Right, so another little bit of Wednesday news before we move on is Player of the Month has been announced, and Monsieur Matthias has grasped the Player of the Month. It seems to be a bit of a controversial one looking at the social medias. Do you guys agree with that?
I don't understand how it could have been anyone else, to be honest.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think, yeah, based on one moment that that he absolutely nailed it against one of our great rivals, and also he's just when he gets the ball, you sense something is going to happen. Something's going to happen. It's going to create something. He might not always hit the target, but you get that excitement, and I think he's had a real impact.
I'm pretty sure we've said exactly the same over the years about Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I said that last week. Is he going to be another Jermaine Johnson? But the last match, I thought he did okay. And I thought the balls he was putting in and the shots he took were all right. And if 1 out of 5 of them comes off, we're up for a wonder goal every season. Or every month.
Well, there you are then, listeners. There's Vic's crush of the week.
No.
The big question is he on the list?
He's not on the... No, have you seen... He's got little teeth. I don't like little teeth.
You don't want to get look, your lordship. I know that you used to deal with a higher class of female, but basically, you don't want a guy with short teeth.
What about?
I was going to say, but she's from Shire Green.
What about Bazza? Does he go on the list?
No, I don't know. I've not seen him. Do you know who did until I saw him play? Was him, left back Wiggins. But now, no.
Is that because he's crap?
Well, I paid for my wedding venue tonight. I don't really want to think about the list.
I got you.
If Lewis Buxton came along and said, I'll pay for it instead, I'd be like, yeah, right, Lewis.
Does that mean it's not at Hillsborough?
It's not at Hillsborough, I'm afraid, no.
Controversial. There's another exclusive. It's a big night tonight, folks.
my engagement party, as you all know, is at Hillsborough Arena. But no, there's nothing at Hillsborough Stadium, I'm afraid.
Boo.
Well, there goes my little nest egg. Good Lord. Right then, so let's move on, shall we? Obviously, as Fudge said a couple of weeks ago, it's been a bit of a difficult, shall we say, start to the season. We've had a lot of the good clubs all at once, and the next one is no exception, really. We've got Burnley coming up next, ladies and gents. How do we think this one's going to go?
Well, the good news is that they've signed Joey Barton, who always has a bit of a mare against us, doesn't he? I remember Lewis Buxton chipping it over his head and then striking it in the down at the Cop. Was that last season or the season before? I can't remember.
Season before.
Season before. Seems like 2 minutes ago. I don't know. I mean, they came out of the Premier League, didn't they? So you would think that there's a pretty decent squad there. But they have lost a couple of players. They're probably in a similar situation to us in respect that because they've lost a couple, they've had to bring in a few, and therefore they're still, what was the word we're using?
Gelling. Cohesion.
The cohesion.
Coherizing.
Yes. So, I mean, you could argue that it's not a bad time to play. There's never going to be a good time to go to Burnley, is it? But, we'll see what happens. We won there last season in the Cup, so who knows?
I myself am a big fan of Sean Dyche. Now, if anybody remembers the movie Waterboy and the assistant coach, the assistant coach that wears the dungarees?
Yes.
The one that goes, we let a man down the bed. That's Sean Dyche. Anybody that sounds like a character from an Adam Sandler movie is all right by me.
It's nice to know he's got your seal of approval, Fudgy, old boy. Absolutely. I mean, from a professional point of view, David, what do you think about this one?
I think we'll go there and I'll get something. I do think, they have improved the last couple of games, and obviously that, decent squad. I think, if any team, as you said, that's come down from the Premier League, and internationals and plenty of, even like Michael Kitely for me, still always got that little bit of invention. You've got, Sam Vokes up front, who there were reports that we were in for him as well. But I still think, we've got a couple of weeks just to settle here and just work out what we want to do, and how we're gonna play against them. And I think, do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we went there and nicked it. But I think I would happily, a 1-1 draw right now. I go, okay, yeah, I'll take that. It's a decent, let's just do it gradually and let's just build. I think we can go and get something there.
It's a good matchup for us, I think, this one, because I think where their strength is also where our strength is. And, you look at what we need to be fearful from Burnley at the moment is they have that quality going forward. But I think that we can contain that defensively. It's one of those that can go either way. I think either our defence kind of bends but doesn't break, and we come away with a 1-0 win, or we don't quite get the job done and we lose 1-0. I don't think it's a massive marker for the season. I think this is one of these where no matter which way the result goes, I don't think it changes the way that we play. I don't think it changes our outlook for the season. It'd be great to get the 3 points. And to be honest, I kind of feel like there's a little bit of pressure building now after that, the kind of strong start that we had, that now I think the team and more importantly Carlos needs to show that we can turn a corner, that we can come back from a defeat. This might be the one where we get the 3 points, where it doesn't really prove anything, but I think it really it sets us back up on a positive swing, back to where we want to be.
What I'd really like to see is actually the one thing I thought against Borough wasn't great was, as you said, the goals that we let in last season, we wouldn't have let in those goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
17 clean sheets. Yes, we had Westwood playing out of his skin, and I'm sure when he comes back, it'll be exactly the same. It'd be great to have him, but back in nets, even though, Lewis has done fine. But I want to see us be resolute. I want to see us, whenever, an opposing side had a free kick or a corner last season, I didn't worry about it. I was like, no, this is going back out, towards 20, 25 yards out. We'll defend this fine. I feel like maybe we've lost a touch of that. And I want us just to be solid again and use that as a platform. And then we can build, and then we can start expressing ourselves. And then we've got the players to do that. So that's what my priority for that game would be, for us to be absolutely rock solid.
How much do you think that Kieran Lee and Jose Semedo, those players who were the key to that solidity, in front of the back four, do we need to be putting those in there and almost changing the way that we approach a game, especially away, to be more resolute, like you say. It does restrict our opportunities going forward, and that's going to make it more difficult for us to get 3 points. But is it important for us to get a point away at Burnley and put a stake in the ground to say, you know what, we're still that dominant defence that no one wants to come and play against?
I think you're right. I think we touched upon it last week, didn't we, about the defence not looking as resolute as what they did last year, and I think that those players like Lee and like Semedo are key to that. I think they're for me they offer that extra bit of cover in order to cover the defence, if that makes sense.
I think Hutch has been all right this season, though, apart from obviously the injury and the odd booking. But
17 yellow cards, yeah.
But that's Hutch, isn't it? But I thought actually just across the games, the fact that he's put together this run of 7 games, and he has only just now has he got injured. I think he's been quite impressive. I still think you're right though, and for me, Kieran Lee, I think he's such a good transition player as well, isn't he? Because he can defend, keep the ball, take the pressure off, and then he'll drive and then he'll push. So I think Kieran, I think Carlos is acknowledging what he brings.
So much of what we have is one-dimensional in terms of they do a job. Kieran Lee actually he's truly box to box. I don't think we've got another midfielder who can do that, who you can rely on with free kicks and set pieces against you, but also be creative and also be there at the end of a play kind of scoring a goal. And I think we dismissed Kieran Lee at our peril because we signed him for a reason, because he shone in League One. He was head and shoulders in League One. And actually, I can't think of the times that Kieran Lee has made a mistake. He doesn't make bad decisions. Sometimes he's not the greatest going forward. He's
Apart
not the
from
greatest
that
in defence.
haircut.
Apart from the haircut. And you know what? He's even sorted that out as well. His original haircut was far worse than the one that he has now. Big up Kieran Lee.
So I think optimism is the key, and again, away games are never going to be easy, especially against teams like Burnley, as you quite rightly say. So I think dare I ask for score predictions, or dare I not?
Oh, God.
Go on.
7-0. It's always 7-0, isn't it?
No, that's my score prediction. Absolutely, James.
Yeah, very quickly. Just what I did want to say is, I know we touched on earlier about are we still feeling optimistic? What I would say is that I am still feeling excited. And the other day when my little white envelope with the Burnley tickets dropped through the letterbox, I couldn't wait to open it. And I don't know why, because I don't know the stadium. I have no idea where my
Did you do a
tickets
little
are.
run through the street like Charlie?
I've got a Burnley ticket.
I did, yeah. It's a week and a half until the match, and being able to still get excited about away games is so good. Last season they became a bit of a. This season, still dead exciting. Score prediction: I'm going to go 2-1 Wednesday.
Fantastic, Victoria.
Oh, yeah, I'll go 2-1 Wednesday. Actually,
Absolutely.
I'm
So
agreeing with James.
I'm gonna put a bit of a rain on the parade. I'm thinking 1-1 at the absolute best.
fantastic, Eddie.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I honestly believe I think it'll be 1-0 Burnley, and I think there'll be a lot of Wednesday fans on social media who are going to think the world has collapsed upon them. And actually, I don't think it means anything. I think this is a good team that we're going to play against, and I feel the way that we're playing at the moment, I don't think we'll get a result. And usually I'm very positive, but I'm going to say 1-0 Burnley, but it doesn't matter.
Bear me just 1 second. Shan't be a moment. James, when's Eddie's contract coming up? And David.
I think we'll have a good break, and we'll just get our head set, and we'll go to Burnley. And I'd like to think 1-0, but if you offer me 1-1, do you know what? I'd take it, because that's a good result. But I think we might get a 1-0 there.
Absolutely. And of course, I'm going for the prerequisite 7-0. It's bound to be. It's going to happen. Right. So let's move on to our next little bit. David, as we have got you, we do have a few questions, if you wouldn't mind answering one or two of them, old boy.
Yeah, go for it.
Do your very best. We've sent out a little tweet, and we've had a few questions in. The first one is from, let's have a little look.
Have we had replies?
It was kind of.
Can we have you on every week, David?
Oh, that's very kind.
We don't get replies.
You might want to hear where the questions came from and whom, first of all.
Go for it.
The first one is from a Mr. D. Fudge. That says the poster outside Bramall Lane. Was that an accident? Did you have anything to do with that, David?
Was that you? Was it you, David?
Did you not see me actually putting it up? Okay, I was in heavy disguise. Big hat, obviously, like mustache, glasses. No, I had absolutely nothing to do with that, sadly, because I wish I had. It would have been really, really funny. But no, sadly, I can't claim the credit for that one.
The second one we have, again, is from a Mr. Daniel F. Udge, again up there on Twitter, saying, when you're on the telly, David, because obviously it's quite a big thing, and there's all the people working away in the background.
Yeah.
Are they actually working?
Yeah.
Is it just a screen? That's the main thing.
Do you know what though? Do you know what the funniest thing was? So we've got this social media area. There has been a couple of times when there's someone who's manning it, making sure all the tweets we get, and we vet them, and then we can choose which ones we want to talk about. And we told her, look, can you just it looked like there's activity going, and she started typing on the keyboard, one of the girls, except the screensaver was on. So clearly it wasn't working. Whenever she was typing, Control-Alt-Delete would have been the idea. No, it wasn't working. I was like, oh man, that's the stuff that we get. We get a little bit of a bad rep for sometimes. But yeah,
the thing for me that ruined transfer deadline day, and I'm a massive fan. I usually get my Natalie Sawyer posters out at least 24 hours beforehand.
I'll let her know.
Yesterday there was it must have been a publicity photo. If not, it was massively misguided. That was Jim White with his yellow tie, draped over Kate Abdo's yellow dress. It was possibly the most disturbing photo I've ever seen. Yeah, and yet I went to bed happy.
Yeah, that's just Jim White. I'm sorry, I can't legislate for that. The man's a law unto himself.
I love Jim White.
Jim White. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm not a fan of deadline day. What about you, David? I mean, I've said on this show before, it's like having 3 months to do your coursework and doing it on the bus on the way to school. I think Gary Neville tweeted on the day, it shows who's prepared and who's not. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's right. I think, any clubs who, have a kind of strategy as to who they want to buy and where they need to strengthen, they will have done all the necessary homework before and hopefully sign those players in good time. Because the problem is, if you leave it to the last minute, you're gonna be held to ransom for it. And I think, we almost had a situation like that, especially once a story got out that we bid 10 million for McCormack. As I said, it wasn't that. Then obviously people think, well, look, Wednesday they've got money to spend, they're desperate for a striker. We're going to take them to the cleaners for this. I think, I don't think it's popular with managers at all. Martinez said the other day it should close when the season starts. But equally, I think, you need to see how your signings bed in for a few games, and then where you need to strengthen, and then you can go and get that player. For us, absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it. I really honestly enjoy it, because it's like you go into work and you have absolutely no idea. It's like strapping yourself into a sort of a roller coaster, sticking a blindfold on, and then just not knowing where you're going to go. Which I think is actually, yesterday it was more about, players staying and not moving on. But the De Gea thing was hilarious.
Wasn't it?
And then who's this Anthony Martial dude? Where's he come from? 36 million? You what? Yeah, I mean, I think those kind of things just really spice it up for us. So I enjoy it.
Who did you send down to? Who was down at Arsenal yesterday?
It was Nick Collins and Ian Bolton who were there.
They had the best day, didn't they?
It was feet up, wasn't it? It was just nothing going on.
David, did you ever get sent out I know obviously now for reasons of sex toys and very bad language, it doesn't get done anymore. Did you get sent out to do live position reports from Stoke or West Bromwich?
No, I've never had the pleasure. But
thank God for that. Your career is richer for it.
I'd love to have seen that, David. Having known you about 10 years, I would love to see you stood outside Stoke.
But the thing is, as and when we get into the Premier League, then the first deadline day where it's Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough as a Premier League team, I am desperate to do it, of course.
Sleep over at my house, everyone.
Yeah, all right.
We can stand behind David with our sex toys. But David, is there? I'm sorry, it's just turned into a Q&A with me and David. Sorry, but is there a hierarchy? Like is there like you used to pick teams at school? Do you know what I mean? So all the presenters are in front of the producers, and they go, right, Dave, you've got Newcastle. Oh. You know what I mean? I'll swap you for Stoke. Do you know what I mean?
It's not. I mean, look, there's people who've been there a long time. Obviously, the likes of Jim we've talked about, and Mike Wedderburn's been doing early since I can remember. The guy must have a programmed alarm clock in his brain that even on his days off he gets up at 2 a.m. And those guys obviously have so much experience, and they've earned the right to do the shows that they do. I think is that we've all got this sounds like such a sitting on the fence answer. I'm really sorry, but we've all got different strengths and stuff. Some people know football really well, but maybe they're not so hot on other stuff. Some are all rounders, and I think the key is for me that you get on really well with who you're on with. And most of the time for me, it's Natalie Sawyer, and she is absolutely brilliant. I'm telling you, she is for me just top draw, absolutely top draw. She's a lovely girl as well.
I think we're all big fans of Natalie Sawyer, to be fair.
Massively.
I've kind of got a soft spot for Brentford as well as a result, I think.
I think I have.
Honestly, Brentford is obviously, for obvious Wednesday reasons, it's one of my favourite away days ever. But also, Brentford, what an awesomely cool place to go. You get to go to a ground where there's about 6 rows in every stand. There's a pub on every corner. Yeah. It's 20 minutes from the West End. It's the best away day of all time. And if you're lucky, you get to meet Natalie, who's there wearing a shirt. It's all goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty good. She's a good lass. She's great on air. She's a lovely person, and do you know what? There's 25 of us, and there's no one really that you wouldn't go for a drink with. Honestly, always. Obviously, it's telly. There's people, who there's always egos in the building, but no matter what you do. But I think we all kind of get on. I think we're a nice sort of tight bunch, really.
As long as it's not you, Jim, what's his face, Jeff, or Natalie, I'm happy. As long as you lot get on. I feel like I could be your friends.
Oh, Victoria, out of my male presenting colleagues, anyone on the list?
Jeff.
Jeff.
Not Jules. Christ, I've worked with Jules for about 5 years at Alan. No.
Oh, of course, yeah, Jules Warren, right? Okay.
No, Jeff.
Jeff every time. Not Tom White. Not Tom White.
Jeff,
come on.
No.
Everyone loves a bit of Tom White.
No, it's going to be Jeff.
It's all about Mike Wedderburn. So, a few years ago, my son didn't sleep on a night. And so habitually at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I would get up. And obviously, if I'm feeding him milk, I'm going to put Sky Sports News on. And so basically, my son, I think, believes that on some level, Mike Wedderburn is as much of a father to him as I am. So,
in all weirdness, I think I've been there at that point as well, Edward.
Well, you're all welcome. You're all welcome to come along and visit Sky Studios and meet Mike Wedderburn and meet Natalie Sawyer and meet Jeff Selling. Come along. There's an open invite right there.
We could do our pod.
There you go.
What's it called? Vlog.
It's all coming up Wednesday week. There we are.
Me and Jeff, he is on the list. He's top of the list. Like my other half. I don't care. I've just paid a lot of money for this wedding tonight. But if I could get Jeff, he'd high five me.
And one final very important question came in, David, from some clown pretending to be the Lord of Hillsborough.
Oh God, him! Yeah, I've heard about him.
What's it like for the Sky Sports News Radio podcast to be below the Wednesday week in the iTunes standards?
It's where it deserves to be. Wednesday week all day for me. Now that I've made my debut, it deserves to be where it is. Top of the amateur charts. That's right.
Yes. We always are in the amateur chart.
Why are jumping off amateur charts, Lord? That's a question. So many people have tweeted me saying, "Why are you classed as amateur?" I was like, I don't know. We're awesome. I'm sat on the bed in the attic. Like, why are we amateur? What's that all about?
While we're on this subject, can we just for a second? Can we just revel in the fact that we were number one on the amateur chart for about 3 hours, but we were number one?
Yes. Woo!
Absolutely. Beating such prestigious podcasts as Alan Davis's Arsenal podcast and a couple of BBC ones in there as well. Of course, Sky. Who are they? To be honest, I don't think BT have got one, so they're not in the fixture. So, yes, obviously, not too much praise, but a massive pat on the back for us brilliantly.
Sorry, I've got dog issues.
The dog's excited.
Well, I think you've just answered your own question as to why we're in the amateur chart.
David, while you're here, I've devised a fun and exciting, as I described it earlier on Twitter, game for you to play if you're up for this.
Yeah, I did see that tweet. I didn't reply to you just because I was slightly scared.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. So the game's called This or That.
And if you hold my hand,
you'll be aware of the format of this game. It's called This or That. All that happens is it's quick fire. I give you two options. You've got to pick the first one that comes to mind.
Okay.
So an example could be daytime or nighttime.
Daytime.
Are you ready for this? Quick
yes,
fire.
I am.
First one that comes to mind.
Okay.
Right. Blue or white?
Blue.
North stand or south stand?
South stands.
Boo.
Home games or away days?
Away days, I'm afraid. I live down south. What can I say?
Yes.
Lager or real ale?
Lager.
Yes.
4-5-1 or 4-4-2?
4-4-2.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Yay!
Kylie or Jason?
What? Jason.
It's an important question. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers. Briefs.
Barnsley or Rotherham?
Oh.
Barnsley.
Yeah.
Only just though.
I'd agree with
Corrie or EastEnders?
EastEnders.
Oh, dirty southerner.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
that. Emmerdale or EastEnders?
EastEnders.
Oh.
The only thing that's come out of this entire show is that David Garrido's an EastEnders fan.
Where's boxes?
Right, let's see if you can recover it. United or City?
City.
Sepp Blatter or Kim Jong-un?
Sepp Jong-un.
Good answer. Milan Mandaric or Deshpon Chansiri?
Milan Chansiri.
I think you're cheating a little here.
Boo, Garrido.
Carlos Cavalial or Stuart Gray?
Oh, come on. It's got to be Carlos right now.
Ati Nuyu or Lucas Zhao?
Oh.
Mm.
Oh.
It's getting tough.
It's awkward. Think about the show you're on, David.
Lucas Zhao.
No!
I knew you wanted me to say Ati. I knew you wanted me to say it.
It's all right. It got the right answer.
No.
Right, Hurst or Waddle?
That was
Hurst.
the next one for me. Absolutely.
Yeah, David Hurst.
We're nearly done. Jules or Jim?
Jim.
Jim or Jeff?
Jim.
No!
And the last question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Champions League on BT or La Liga on Sky?
Oh, La Liga on Sky every day of the week.
Corporate.
Obviously.
Big round of applause for David.
That was exhausting. The pressure. My goodness. Right. I'm glad that's over. Thanks.
I'll tell you what, David. Actually, I agreed with 80% of your answers. Ergo, I will be putting my suit on and I'll meet you at the studio. Because clearly, because we think the same, I will. If Wedderburn wants a night off, I'm ready to drop in.
I'll let him know.
I think,
why not?
It's going to make it really awkward for David, but I think we should all just do it now. I think we should book a road trip.
You thought, exactly. I thought it was
He
just
thought
an
we'd
empty
say,
invite that I could just stick out there and that you wouldn't take me up on it.
Of course you can come, guys. Yeah, I'm coming. We'll go in James's camper van.
We'll stand at the back and do the Twitter.
It's all getting carry on film, this, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm heading down to Isleworth and I'm gonna park in the car park with the window down, just waiting for people to interview me.
The Wednesday week is proud to be associated with Cavendish Cancer Care. Cavendish is a Sheffield charity dedicated to improving the quality of life for people living with cancer. No one should face cancer alone, so Cavendish provides emotional support through counselling and complementary therapies. The services they provide are free of charge and are funded through donations. If you can help or would like to find out more information, you can go to www.cavcare.org.uk. That's CAVCARE.org.uk. Right then, ladies and gents, one last quick thing to mention before we start to wrap up then. We would like to send our congratulations to the Wednesday Cricket Club, who have had their third consecutive promotion. And of course, we all know where the football club originally started. I think that's
well done, boys.
Fantastic news, so that's brilliant. Right then, ladies and gents, unless anybody has any other business...
James, have you got any little bits?
I have my tweet of the week.
Oh, of course, yeah. Do that one then.
Have we got a jingle for this yet?
No, let's make one up right now. James's tweet of the week.
Very good.
Time for James's
My tweet of the week this week, and I loved this, goes to @StewLevy1, who I assume is a Watford fan, who posted the most brilliant photograph the other day. He has the Watford 2015 calendar, and in September it's Fernando Forestieri, and then October is Daniel Pudel.
Of course it is.
And I'm going to post a photo of this later because it's absolutely wonderful. I laughed for about an hour.
Now Watford fans know what it's like to be a Wednesday fan. I used to buy that calendar every year as a kid, knowing that past March we wouldn't have any of those players.
My favourite was West Ham announcing that they'd signed Mikel Antonio with a picture of Jermaine Johnson. Didn't you see that?
I was going to mention that after we'd stopped recording.
Fudge's tweet of the week. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, that'll just about wrap us up for this evening. Of course, we'd like to say a special thank you for David for joining us today. Thank you ever so much.
Thanks, David.
My
Cheers,
pleasure,
David.
my lord. I'll happily come
We're all
back anytime.
Wednesday, aren't we?
I'm sure that there's nobody that's not following you that isn't following us. But if people do want to get hold of you on Twitter, oh boy, where can they do that?
Well, you see, there used to be a parody of me, which I loved. It was @SkySports_Dave, but it's gone.
Oh.
I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted. They used to like retweet all sorts of nonsense. Anyway, it's Sky Sports David, which is the real one.
Fantastic.
Do we have to use the hashtag SSNHQ, or can we just tweet about it?
No, I'll let you off. You don't have to. It takes up 6 characters anyway, so forget it.
Eddie, where can people get hold of you, oh boy?
Yeah, so obviously on Twitter @SausageArms, and also I've been banging on about it all the way through pre-season, etc. The Wednesday Out Lounge at Niagara, which is only 300 yards from the back of the North Stand, the back of the Cop. It is brilliant. We had pies and peas and raffles and Sky Sports.
We had
bloody pulled pork. You don't get
Pulled
that
pork
anywhere Hillsborough. So we are bringing Isleworth to Hillsborough. Basically, next time Garrido's up, he's going to be all over the Niagara Club. So you come down.
Honestly,
every home game.
I'm there. I'm all over it like a fat kid on a cupcake.
Seriously, we have a very small budget for hospitality. We could probably buy you at least half a pint. So get involved. But no,
my friend, is a deal. Let's do it.
@SausageArms on Twitter. In the meantime, if you're listening now, I'm in Glasgow for the next 8 hours. I'm watching Parkhead. It's 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. They've still got their video screen on in their in their home end. It's not as big as Mr. Chanseri's.
Do you reckon if Chanseri sells this, do you reckon he'll take that with him?
Like a breakup.
Like a disgruntled ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. My ball, I'm taking it home.
Of course, Fudgy old boy, where can people get hold of you over there on the Twitteridge?
I'm available on Twitter @DanFudge with just I think a quarter of as many followers as Lord 8. So if you want to give me a follow, that'd be nice. I just it's utter tripe I spout, but get involved.
Absolutely. James, where can people find you, old boy?
You can get me on Twitter @James Marriott, or after my quality journalistic questioning earlier, hopefully soon to be @Sky Sports James.
Hashtag SSNHQ.
And
That's so annoying. I've just written that down.
Where can people get hold of you?
I'm at Victoria1867 on Twitter, Facebook, everything else. I'm the same username, so get in touch.
Fantastic. Of course, you can get hold of me over there on the social medias @Lord_H/L0RD_H. You can follow the podcast @TWWcast on Twitter too. Of course, we're on Facebook. You can email us as well @TWWpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, we spread all over the place as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything from us this evening. Again, thank you ever so much for joining us, and we shall see you very soon.